If you or someone you know has diabetes, you may have built up an extra supply of test strips and lancets. That's where we come in. We'll buy the supplies that you don't need and resell them to those in need to prevent waste. Help us make diabetes management more affordable. Visit us at teststripswithaz.com.
All right, joining me right now, coming off another big victory Sunday night in Phoenix, Arizona. She defeated Ashlee Evans-Smith 2-0 in the Octagon, 6 wins in a row for Andrea KGB Lee. Andrea, congratulations on the win. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. So this is the first fight you've had since May, and 2018 was one hell of a year for you for a lot of different reasons. We don't need to get into everything, and we're not going to do so, but you were scheduled to fight in December with Jessica Rose Clark. She had a really tough weight cut, and there's a lot of people out there who are always excited for the calendar to turn to a new year. How excited were you that 2018 was over and you could start clean and move on to 2019?
I'm very happy that that year's over. I don't like the fact that time goes by so quickly, because last year, man, I feel like I don't even remember. I remember it, but it just happened so quickly. I guess there's just so much chaos going on, I don't know. I'm glad it went by quick. But I am glad I'm in a new year and I can hopefully start fresh this year.
So originally, Lauren Murphy was supposed to fight Ashlee at the event. She had a foot injury, required some surgery. It didn't heal as quickly as she had hoped, and then you stepped in and got the opportunity. Did the UFC reach out to you to step in, or did you, as the folks say, grab the bull by the horns and make this happen between you and your team?
No, they reached out to me, luckily. After my fight fell through in December with Jess, they told me that they would try to get me in a fight as soon as possible. And they said there was some things that were coming up, and a lot of fights that were in the works. So that just happened to, fall into place for me. And I'm happy and very lucky that it did.
I know you have found a new camp. You've linked up with Tim Creduer, and hearing you talk about how much he cares for you, how very unselfish he is when it comes to making you the best fighter that you can be. How did that all come together, and what does that all mean to you, I guess, to find that trainer, find that person who is going to look out for you at the end of the day, as this sport can be a bit ruthless from time to time?
I think that it's great, and it means everything. There's, like I said, there's a lot of people out there that are out for themselves, and trying to find someone who cares for you genuinely, and wants you to see you succeed, is like a diamond in the rough, So I feel very lucky that that Tim Creduer, is that person, for me, is that coach, along with Jim West and the others that are in my corner.
Has Tim been able to, obviously he's a UFC veteran. He's been in the sport for a while. He's been able to pass on some wisdom that you may not have been aware of heading into this fight, or anything else you've done in your fighting career at this point?
Yeah, I think that a lot of this, I feel like he has a lot of wisdom that he can pass on, not just like in fighting, but like just in life in general. He's very smart, super intelligent. I like talking with him. I think that he's going to help me more than just in the sport alone. He's going to help me find the right people to manage my money, and things that will matter down the line, because fighting doesn't last forever, and he's doing a really good job, with his life and his career. He's got so much, that he does, and he manages it so well. So he's going to try to help me out too.
That's phenomenal. I thought, in terms of the fight itself, I thought you looked fantastic. I thought your game plan was pretty flawless. It didn't look like anything really surprised you at all. Your counter game was on point. The jab was landing consistently. When she took you down, you got right back up. Did anything surprise you at all in the fight, or did everything go pretty much the way you expected it to?
I think what surprised me is the fact that everything went how we had planned for, because that never happens. So that was surprising to me, is that everything just went how we had game planned. That doesn't ever happen. That really never happens. I was able to stick to the game plan, keep it standing. I decided, that I was not going to go, I did not want to go to the ground with her. And that if it did go to the ground, I was going to scramble and get back up. Wasn't going to stay in the clinch long. I didn't want to exhaust myself there in the clinch. I'm very good at finding myself in the clinch in so many fights, and a lot of the times it's because I put myself there. So in this fight, I knew that I didn't want to do that. I wanted to keep it standing, and I wanted to conserve my energy, and I wanted to get a finish, but I had a feeling that it was going to go the distance, so I was prepared for that.
Yeah, I mean, Ashlee, of course, very seasoned, very gritty. Like you said, very difficult to finish. She goes the distance quite a bit. I know you have a new team, new trainers and such, but, was there anything added to the camp specifically in terms of, maybe some extra cardio, some strength and conditioning, knowing that you were going to go in there with a tough opponent that brings that sort of style and approach to these fights?
We didn't change a whole lot. Because my skills and stuff, they're there, so we added to it. We worked on just simple combinations that we thought would land in the fight against her, which they did. A lot of the uppercuts and stuff. I don't normally throw a lot of uppercuts in my fights. I did a lot in this fight, and they all landed. Just keeping my head off that center line and not staying there. I do move my head well, but I feel like I was able to keep my head off the center line and counter, with slips and rolls and stuff. Also, I was going to say, we didn't lift as much for this camp. So maybe that helped because my arms didn't blow up. They didn't feel like they were blown up, like lactic acid buildup. That happens a lot in a lot of the fights that I've had where my arms are just so exhausted and I'm tired and I don't want to throw, and that makes me want to clinch because I'm tired of punching. But this time I didn't feel that way. So, I mean, maybe I should lay off the weight.
I think you found something here. How about that?
Yeah. I did. I think so.
When the final horn sounded, it was pretty obvious watching it on TV how the fight was going to go, how the decision was going to go. I'm sure you felt like you had done the job. I'm sure your team felt the same way. Of course you did, winning all 3 rounds on all the judges' scorecards. But what was going through your mind when the fight is over? Did you sort of feel like a big weight lifted off your shoulders, like you're officially back and you're back with a great win in 2019?
Yes, I did. Man, I felt it. I'm standing there waiting for them to call my name, and I was just like, fuck. Oh, wow. It just I felt a release. It's crazy. It felt great just getting that win. I mean, I needed it, and I needed to prove to myself, and to not anybody else, but just to myself, I guess, and it felt good.
Sometimes you got to do that. I mean, there's a lot you're fighting for, but sometimes you have to do some stuff for Andrea, and I think you kind of got that on Sunday night. So looking at the rankings, you've jumped up 4 spots in the latest rankings, so you're officially a top 10 125-pounder in the world. Does that feel good when you hear that? Because, different fighters I talk to feel different ways about the rankings, although I think in this division in particular, there's a lot more meaning and merit behind them. You know what I mean?
I sure hope so. I haven't been trying to pay attention to the rankings, really. Everybody calls, reaches out to me and, it's like, oh, you're ranked this and you're ranked that, or she's ranked that, or, even in this fight, I didn't even know where we were in the rankings. I wasn't trying to keep up with that, but I am very happy to finally to break into the top 10. I know it fluctuates a lot. So, I mean, if I don't have a fight, by the summertime, I'm probably going to be back at 13 or something like that, because someone else will have fought and probably moved into my spot, and that happens a lot, especially when you're right there at number 10. It fluctuates a lot right there.
It's a what have you done for me lately sport in this crazy world of mixed martial arts. So
yeah.
it was 10 months between fights for you. You kick off 2019 with the win. Have you thought about, you had mentioned if you don't get a fight for summer, have you thought about when you'd like to get back in there? Do you want to let this one simmer for a little bit, or are you looking to get right back in there as soon as possible?
I want to let it simmer for just a little bit, spend some time with my daughter, because I've been in two fight camps back to back the past 5 months. I haven't really got to spend as much time with her as I wanted to. So I want to enjoy a few months just hanging out with her, and she's right here sleeping.
Oh,
yeah. So I wanna spend time with her, and then I'm hoping to get a fight in the summertime in the States, and maybe I could take her with me.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Does she normally come to fights with you, or was this one just a little bit different?
She has. She normally does, but she hasn't, in a while. So I want to get her back on that, when she's not in school, of course.
Of course, you don't want to take her away from school, although I'm sure she would be okay with that. Talking about this division, it's a really fun division, and the top seems like it's figured out in terms of what's next. Looks like Jessica Ai is going to fight Valentina next. There's some fighters ahead of you in the rankings. You probably don't even look at them at this point. People are telling you anyways, but I know Lauren's at number 9. There's a lot of interesting matchups above you. There's a lot of movement on the bottom half of the top 15 with the Montana De La Rosas of the world making some moves. Jessica Rose Clark, I believe, is with you in that number 10 spot. Do you have someone in mind that you'd like to get in there with next, or is it more, give me a name, let's go, I don't care?
Yeah, give me a name, I don't care. But that is confusing, though. That, like, how is that Jessica Rose is in top 10 with me? And that's confusing because I know she's moving up in weight. She said she's not going to fight at 125 anymore.
Yeah, and who else is up there? What's her face? Who's the one that missed weight in New York? That was going to fight for the title. Yeah, Sijara Eubank. She's ranked number 2 in the division. She's moving up as well. She's
moving up too, yeah. So I don't know why they haven't kicked him out of the top 10 yet, 125, but I think it's coming.
you might jump up to number 9. How about that? A couple more things before we wrap up here, and I really appreciate the time here, especially with Ainsley laying over there and you're trying to not wake her up. But big news today she's out cold. She's a sound sleeper like my kid is. Obviously, big news in the MMA world today. George St-Pierre officially announced his retirement. One of the greatest, arguably the greatest to step inside the cage. And I'm not sure if you ever met or had any run-ins with George, but do you have any GSP stories? Or if not, when you hear the name George St-Pierre, what comes to mind for you as a martial artist?
I've always loved George St-Pierre. Whenever I started out, he was my favorite. And I don't have any cool GSP stories, but I loved watching him on The Ultimate Fighter. Always loved watching him fight. He looks great in his shorts. But I loved his accent. I love listening to him talk. That was fun. He had this one line, I think, and it was against Josh Koscheck, and I can't do it because I can't do accents, but he said that Josh Koscheck, he's the ultimate bad boy and I'm the ultimate good guy. Anyway, so fun. It was so cute. I was like, oh my god, it's so funny. Just listening, I don't know. I like his accent, and I'm gonna miss him as fighting in the UFC. I was hoping I would have liked to have seen him fight against shoot. He just won the title.
Habib?
Yes. Yeah, I'm sorry, my brain went blank.
That's all right. I did the same thing 2 seconds ago, so.
Yeah. I was like, I just would have liked to have seen him fight again, So I'm sad about that. But he needs to retire, I guess, Well, he's on top.
Absolutely, and he's done it essentially twice on top, which is pretty amazing. And one of my favorite GSP lines is after Matt Hughes won, and he said, "I'm not impressed by your performance," and it was the lamest attempt at trash talk, and it so wasn't him, but it's still a line that people say all the time. And he came out a couple weeks later and apologized for it. So that's the GSP we all know and love. So
no, you've never heard anything bad about GSP. He's really good at staying, out of the spotlight. As far as bad publicity. You never hear anything bad about him. Anything.
No, nothing. Very good businessman. Seems like a great guy. Never got the chance to meet him, but hats off. Great career, and he did it on his own terms. And a lot of fighters can't say that. I think that's fantastic. And the last thing I want to talk about is I truly, on a personal level, commend you for really going through what you've gone through, coming out on the other side of all this. You've had to answer the questions to the best of your ability at the media days, the post-fight scrums, all of that, and I think you've handled it all like a true professional. So in terms of growth, not just, as an athlete, not just as a fighter, but, as a mom, as a person, what is the biggest thing you've learned about yourself through all of this?
I guess that I can handle anything, I feel like I'm definitely, I've always known that I was mentally strong, but through this, it's really helped me see that even more, and being tough mentally in this sport is, you can be super talented, but if you're weak mentally, you're never going to be able to make it to the top. You have to believe in yourself, and you have to push through even the hard times. You can't be weak in those moments. And I think that that's really shown a lot. I've proved that prove that to myself. And, I think that through that I can handle anything. So I think that is how I'll answer that.
No, that's great. I mean, a lot of people struggle with that, to learn that it's not really invincibility, but it's to know that you can handle all of those different pieces of adversity and come through on the other side. And, that's fantastic. I think it's a good lesson that a lot of people can learn from you. And I think a lot of women out there are going to look up to you as well. So that's something, to watch out for. But Andrea KGB Lee, everybody, joining us on the show, coming up for big win in Phoenix on Sunday. Before we get out of here, Andrea, let the folks know where to find and follow you on the web. For those who don't know, any shout outs, anything at all you want to say, the floor is yours.
All right. Thank you, guys. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook under Andrea KGB Lee. And just thank you for having me on tonight. Thank you to the UFC and to all my fans and my family and my friends for all the support. I really do appreciate it.
Congratulations. Yeah. Congratulations, Andrea. Well done. We look forward to seeing that growth continue throughout the year. We look forward to seeing what's next for you, probably in the summertime. And thank you for jumping on tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mike.